Have fun.
The Senate, please come to order. We'll observe a moment of silence in lieu of a devotional. Thank you. Are there any announcements? Seeing none, we have a House bill for referral. Wrong one. We don't have the committee of conference yet, so we're not announcing that. Okay. Being on the calendar, H775 being on the calendar for notice and carrying an appropriation under Rule 31 is referred to the Committee on Appropriations. We have H957, an act relating to approval of the amendments to the charter of the town of Williston, introduced by Representative Burkhart, and it passed the House on May 21st of 2026. Listen to the first reading of the bill.
H957, an act relating to approval of amendments to the charter of the town of Williston.
Now the bill has been read the first time, and failing to meet the crossover deadline for temporary Senate Rule 44A is referred to the Committee on Rules. Orders of the day. Senator from Chittenden.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just wanted to let folks know that with regard to H955, the Ed bill, we will be taking that up on Tuesday. If at all possible, there will be an amendment, an important amendment in the calendar today to give people time to look at it over the weekend. If it doesn't come together today, there will at least be 24 hours of calendar time between second and third reading. So with that, Mr. President, we'll pass over 955 today, but if we could start with H928.
After third readings?
Yes, after third reading.
We have H527 for third reading. Are there any amendments to be offered prior to third reading? Senator from Addison.
Thank you, Mr. President. You did say H527, correct?
527, yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to support this amendment of 527 to change the section 248 sunset from 2029 to 2027. This is not about opposing telecom infrastructure. We all understand the importance of reliable communication and public service. This is about ensuring Vermonters and their towns have a fair voice in the process. For years, the legislature has extended the sunset while promising to fix problems later. Yet communities continue to struggle with the process that is difficult to navigate, expensive to participate in, and often inaccessible to rural towns with limited resources. Towns like Timoth and Westmore have had to hire attorneys just to be heard in the process before the Public Utility Commission. Accessing Vermont towers, across Vermont, towers are being proposed closer to homes, schools, village centers, sometimes in areas that conflict with local town plans. Volunteer town boards and residents often do not understand the Section 248A process or what role they are supposed to play. That creates frustration, distrust, and constant contested projects and delays progress for everyone. This amendment does not stop infrastructure development. It simply ensures legislature returns to the issue sooner rather than later. Waiting another 3 years while communities continue to raise the same concern. We can support telecommunication goals while also improving transparency, public participation, and reasonable siting. No Vermonter or community should be sacrificed for the greater good. We can do better, and we should do better for our Vermonters. For this reason, I respectfully ask for the support of this amendment. Thank you, Mr. President. So it's a simple amendment of just, rather than pushing it out 3 years, that we start to deal with this issue next year. I am really a newcomer to this, so I cannot speak wisely about it, but I had concerns from many constituents that asked me to please place in this amendment. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator from Washington.
May I ask for a short recess so that Senate Finance can look at this? It was not brought to us. We do consider it, but as part of our general discussion, but this is.
We will take a brief recess.
Corner.
Senate, please come to order. Senator from Washington.
Thank you, Mr. President. After exhaustive discussion, the Committee on Finance has voted unanimously not to support this resolution. The Public Utility Commission receives around 148 248A requests a year. 99.9% of them go through without a hitch. Every year or two or three, we get one very controversial one. Sometimes the towns don't respond. I don't know if it's our responsibility to change rules because town officials miss the rules. These are public safety. Cell phones now are connected to the E911 system. They're the way when you run off the road and it's below zero, they're the way that you can reach out for help. They're the way people call for any kind of an emergency service. It's the way we communicate. To not have that ability is a risk to people. And so this system is set up, and we're set up as a way to facilitate what was considered a public good, and that is cell phone service. If we want to change that, that's another discussion. We keep doing sunsets because we don't want to relinquish it. There are occasional towers that are problematic and are problematic to communities. But by and large, the system works. It works for everyone. We've given it a 3-year sunset. We have extended timelines to give communities and individuals more time to be involved in the process. And we're trying to make the system better. to do it in 1 year would not allow present cases to work their way through. It would encourage people to perhaps stonewall in hopes that we would change things. Some of us had hoped we could do away with the sunset altogether, since we've been doing it for over a decade, well over it. But at this point, we felt that 3 years was a compromise. It'll let the new extended timelines work through. It won't throw a roadblock in the way of present systems. And we ask that this body would reject the amendment.
Are you ready for the question? Senator from Addison.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I thank the committee chair for her words. This was asked from towns that believe this process is too expensive for average town Vermonts to battle when there's true concerns. So if this amendment doesn't go through, I ask the Senate and the people in the committees that this is effect to try to set up some new rules, especially like distances from the tower, like 300. Make a specific rule that will protect Vermonters when this issue comes up and they believe they do not have the resources to even be in the room to fight for what they believe they want for their town. Thank you, Mr. President.
Are you ready for the question? Senator from Chittenden.
Thank you, Mr. President. I won't belabor it, but I will remind senators that if it is your intent to amend a bill, best case scenario is that your amendment is in the calendar, which gives people 24 hours to take a look at it. Failing that, getting it to the committee the morning of so that they can take a look at it and we don't need to take a recess on the floor. But amending on the floor with something that no one has seen slows our work down, and often it just means you're much more likely to get a no from the committee because they have no time to process it. So with that said, I understand things come up sometimes at the last minute, but to the extent possible, please try to run amendments by the committee. Thank you, Mr. President.
Are you ready for the question? Shall the bill be amended as offered by the senator from Addison, Senator Heffernan? Are you ready for the question? If so, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The nays appear to have it, and the amendment fails. Are there any further amendments prior to third reading? Seeing none, listen to the third reading of the bill.
H 527, an act relating to extending the sunset of 30 VSA Section 248A.
The question is, shall the bill pass in concurrence with proposal of amendment? Are you ready for the question? If so, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and we've passed 527 in concurrence with proposal of amendment. We now have H 686 for third reading. Are there any amendments to be offered prior to third reading? Seeing none, listen to the third reading of the bill.
H 686, an act relating to expanding identification of certain lobbying advertisements.
The question is, shall the bill pass in concurrence with proposal of amendment? Are you ready for the question? If so, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and we've passed H 686. We now have H 757 for third reading. Are there any amendments prior to third reading? Seeing none, listen to the third reading of the bill.
H 757, an act relating to manufactured homes and limited equity cooperatives.
The question is, shall the bill pass in concurrence with proposal of amendment? Are you ready for the question? If so, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and we've passed H 757. We now have H 817 for third reading. Are there any amendments prior to third reading? Seeing none, listen to the third reading of the bill.
H 817, an act relating to mental health literacy and peer-to-peer supports in schools.
The question is, shall the bill pass in concurrence with proposal of amendment? Are you ready for the question? If so, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and we passed H 817. We now have H 902 for third reading. Are there any amendments to be offered prior to third reading? Seeing none, listen to the third reading of the bill.
H 902, an act relating to approval of amendments to the Charter of the City of Barry.
The question is, shall the bill pass in concurrence? Senator from Rutland.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yesterday, there was an excellent question asked by the senator from Chittenden Central. And in the interim, Ledge Council was able to reach out to the city manager at the time that the charter was written, Nicholas Storilla Castro, I believe is his name. And the question that came up had to do with the wording in the charter about expenses for the most recent voter-approved fiscal year. So the answer that was offered from the city manager at the time, a budget is basically a plan of proposed revenue and expenses. And when they prepare a budget for voter approval, that budget is balanced by charter. The fund balance, and we're talking about a balance afterward, is based on an audited budget after the fact. So I will maybe give a couple of examples of how this might come up, but I do want to stress that there's an audit performed annually on the budget. So for instance, on the revenue side of a budget are the property taxes. That's how municipalities generate revenue. There are local option taxes. There are grants that a municipality may apply for and receive that were not necessarily in the budget as it was first proposed. And there's also potentially projects that were capital projects in a given municipality that never got taken up for a number of different reasons that also increase the revenue side of the picture. So what we're doing is allowing the city of Barry to go from keeping 5% of what's basically left over in terms of unspent revenue and moving it to 10%, and it goes in a special contingency fund, if you will. If it goes beyond that, anything above that has to go back next year to decrease property taxes. And I'm hoping that that's a satisfactory answer, and that's my report. Thank you.
Are you ready for the question? The question is, shall the bill pass in concurrence? If so, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and we've passed H 902. We now have H 953 for third reading. Are there any amendments prior to third reading? Seeing none, listen to the third reading of the bill.
H 953, an act relating to approval of an amendment to the Charter of the Town of Panton.
The question is, shall the bill pass in concurrence? Are you ready for the question? If so, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and we've passed H 953. This is Terry. We are now moving back to the top of the calendar, which brings us to H 928. Senator from Rutland, I believe you have an amendment to offer on H 928.
Thank you, Mr. President. Amendments being handed out. I'm going to go into this, it's very basic. What they've done is we've removed any reference to PFAS, menstrual products, or food processing.
Excuse me, Senator, the secretary made me aware that you have to make the motion to substitute an amendment for the report of the committee before you launch
stand
into
corrected,
telling us
Mr.
what it
President.
does.
So, Mr. President, I make a motion that I be allowed to substitute this amendment for H 928.
The senator has moved to substitute an amendment for the report of the Committee on Natural Resources and Energy, which is being passed out.
Thank you, Mr. President. So the amendment basically,
Oh, excuse me. Again, sorry. We now have to vote on that motion. The question is, shall the substitute amendment offered, where am I? No, I'm here, I got it. The senator from Rutland has moved to substitute an amendment for the report of the Committee on Natural Resources and Energy. Are you ready for the question? Senator from Washington.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to clarify that we did remove portions of 928 that had to do with PFAS, and that was in respect to the chair of the Health and Welfare Committee who would like more testimony on those items, and that is perfectly lovely and could be a great bill for another year. So we're sticking to the other parts of this bill, and that's what this substitute amendment does. Thank you.
Are you ready for the question? If so, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and we will substitute the amendment for the report of the Committee on Natural Resources and Energy. Senator from Washington, Rutland.
Thank you, Mr. President. If I may, I'll start with the report again, and I'll incorporate the changes in the, from the amendment into my report. I rise on behalf of the Committee on Senate Natural Resources and Energy to report favorably on H-298, an act relating to technical corrections to Fish and Wildlife statutes. The bill makes a series of technical and administrative updates in Fish and Wildlife law. The proposal of the bill is to improve clarity, consistency, and implementation within existing statutes. The bill does not create major new policy initiatives. Instead, it addresses operational and technical issues identified by the Department of Fish and Wildlife and the Agency of Natural Resources. The bill does not create major, sorry, I repeat myself. So briefly, this bill does the following. First, it updates portions of Vermont's uniform point systems related to hunting and fishing and wildlife violations. These changes clarify and adjust point values for certain violations to better align law enforcement provisions throughout the statute. Second, the bill authorizes the Commissioner of Fish and Wildlife to allow certain hunting licenses to expire 365 days from the date of issuance, rather than strictly on December 31st. This provides additional administrative flexibility and convenience for license holders. Third, the bill includes several administrative and technical corrections related to licensing procedures and statutory references to improve consistency and implementation. The bill also makes clarifications related to champion lands, reporting requirements, and associated statutory language. Mr. President, these are primarily technical and administrative corrections intended to improve the operation and clarity of existing Fish and Wildlife statutes. Therefore, the Committee on Natural Resources and Energy recommends that the Senate concur with the proposal of amendment to H-238, 928, sorry. The committee vote was 5-0-0, and we heard from Commissioner of Fish and Wildlife, the General Counsel of the Department of Fish and Wildlife, the Head Enforcement Colonel, Fish and Wildlife, Office of Legislative Counsel, the Director of Environmental Conservation, Drinking Water and Groundwater Protection Division, a lobbyist from the City of Barre, Executive Director, Vermont Public Interest Research Group, Director of Waste Management and Prevention Division, and a Deputy Chief Counsel for the Office of Legislative Counsel. Therefore, Mr. President, the Committee on Vermont Senate and Natural Resources and Energy recommends that concurrence with, hopefully we can pass this bill off. Thank you, Mr. President.
The bill was then referred to the Committee on Finance, and for the Committee on Finance, the senator from Addison, Senator Hardy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I, too, am going to offer a substitute amendment, which can be found on page 4001 of today's calendar. So, Mr. President, I move that we substitute the Finance Committee's report with a substitute amendment as presented on page 4001 and 4002 of today's calendar.
The senator from Addison has moved to substitute an amendment for the report of the Committee on Finance. Are you ready for the question?
Mr. President,
Senator from Chittenden.
point of inquiry. Are these not the best opportunities for a reporter of a bill and amendment to speak to their original language and the amendment in question so that senators can be informed about the original language and the recently introduced amendment at the same time?
Senator, that is sort of up to the senator reporting, or you can question the senator reporting if you still need or desire more information.
Mr. President, do I still have the floor?
You do.
Then I might just, for courtesy's sake, recommend that as we get more amendments and amendments to amendments on the floor, as the session wraps up, that senators feel at liberty to explain the underlying amendment and the new proposal of amendment at the same time. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator from Addison.
With pleasure, Mr. President. The original amendment from the Finance Committee, which can be found on page 3999 of today's calendar, you'll note has two instances of amendment. The first is related to unavoidable uses of PFAS and fluorine-treated containers. So this is in the bucket of the PFAS stuff that we just heard about from the senator from Rutland that was removed from the Senate Natural Resources Committee's report. And the reason this is in the Finance Committee is because the Senate Natural Resources Committee, in doing the amendment to the original bill in committee related, the amendment related to PFAS, this was supposed to have been included in that amendment and was inadvertently left out. So the Senate Natural Resources Committee requested that the Senate Finance Committee include this portion in its own amendment, even though it doesn't really have anything to do with finance, but it was included as a courtesy to the Senate Natural Resources Committee. However, given what occurred yesterday on the floor and the miscommunication with a third committee, all of the PFAS language in the bill is being removed, including this amendment, this portion related to fluorine-treated containers. I'm going to offer what has been called a dad joke and say we're putting a lid on this part of the amendment. And the second part of amendment on the original amendment is exactly the same as the amendment that is the substitute amendment related to fees. And I can explain that now or wait until we talk about the substitute amendment, whichever is preferable.
We would prefer that you wait, Senator from Addison, please.
Okay, that part is identical, just for everyone's knowledge, and I'll talk about it when we get there. Thank you, Mr. President.
The senator from Addison has moved to substitute an amendment for the report of the Committee on Finance. Are you ready for the question? Senator from Essex.
Mr. President, I'm a simple guy. I'm really confused about what the heck is going on here. Can somebody just get up and say what's going on? Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator from Washington.
Thank you, Mr. President. So with apologies to the Senate for the confusion, there was a portion of PFAS-related language that ended up in the finance report, along with the portion of PFAS that was in the Senate Natural Resources portion, which we have pulled out due to the Senator from Rutland's amendment. We also need to do the same with the finance report. And so all this substitute amendment is doing is removing more PFAS language, again, so it can be reviewed in a future year. There are other portions of the finance report not related to PFAS. We need to keep those. So we're just substituting, there's a substitute amendment right now to ensure that we are not talking about PFAS. That is all. I hope that's clear. Thank you.
So I might try to summarize that PFAS language has been pulled out in each committee in their respective substitute amendments. So the question is, shall the report of the Committee on Finance be substituted as offered by Senator Hardy and others? Are you ready for the question? If so, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you have substituted the amendment for the report of the Committee of Finance. The question now is, Senator from Addison.
Thank you, Mr. President. So now I will be reporting on the substitute amendment, which can be found on page 4001 of today's calendar. And I will note it's an amendment from all of the members of Finance. So we were all on board with the substitute amendment. And what this is a schedule of fees that the Department of Fish and Wildlife uses every year to for the use of structures and the lands and the use of their property for fish and wildlife lands. So, for example, the Edward F. Kehoe Education Center, the Buck Lake Conservation Camp, the Dead Creek Wildlife Management Area, the Mud Creek Wildlife Management Area, the Grand Isle Fish Culture Station, the Gordon Center Training Facility. These are all properties that are owned by the Department of Fish and Wildlife, and they have different fees for their uses, for education groups, for conservation camps, for school groups, for family reunion, for a wedding, et cetera, and they charge fees. And usually these fees are adopted by rule. In fact, these fees that are in this amendment were just adopted by rule and approved in February. So these are the new fees for the 2026 season. Again, they went through the entire rulemaking process. In another bill, the miscellaneous tax bill, we made some changes to the department's authority to make fees in rule because there was a feeling that they sort of crossed a little bit of a line in making a fee or proposing a fee that was not supported by the legislature. We removed their ability to present fees by rule in most cases, not in all cases, but in most cases. So that left them in a little bit of limbo, with gratitude to the senator from Grand Isle, who was persistent in this case and came to the Finance Committee, I think maybe 3 times, with varying proposals on how to deal with this. This was his 3rd attempt, I believe, and he brought to us an amendment that would just put the fees into statute, which is very, very much like almost every other fee. They are in statute. It retains the legislative constitutional authority to set fees. while also making sure that the Department of Fish and Wildlife has the fees that they feel are fair and that they're necessary for the use of their lands. So, Mr. President, this is just adding these fees into statute as have been approved in rule earlier this session. And the revenues of the state are impacted, but only in the way they would have been impacted by the rule that has already been approved. So we're codifying something that was already approved and making sure that in the future, the discussion of fees go through the legislative process like most fees do. So the Finance Committee voted 7-0-0 to approve this amendment, and we hope that the Senate will support it. Thank you, Mr. President.
So the question is, shall the Senate propose to the House to amend the bill as proposed by the Committee on Natural Resources and Energy as substituted? Are you ready for the question? If so, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you have proposed to the House to amend the bill as recommended by the Committee on Natural Resources and Energy as substituted. Now the question is, shall the Senate propose to the House to amend the bill as proposed by the Committee on Finance as substituted? Are you ready for the question? If so, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you have proposed to the House to amend the bill as recommended by the Committee on Finance as substituted. Now the question is, shall the bill be read a third time? Senator from Rutland.
Thank you, Mr. President. I neglected to mention that this bill will be effective 1 July 2026.
Are you ready for the question? If so, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you've ordered third reading of H 928. Oh, you want that back? Oh, because we're going to. Yep. S 243 was passed by the House with a proposal of amendment. The question is, shall the Senate concur in the House proposal of amendment? Senator from Chittenden Central.
Thank you, Mr. President. This might be a little anticlimactic after the previous discussion, but basically the Senate has decided to concur with the House proposal of amendment. You might recall that S 243 was a bill that was to appropriate funds to the Vermont Language Justice Project. It was a bill that I worked on in health and welfare, thinking that because of various public health emergencies, it would be great for them to be able to respond. The House took a different approach. They decided to work with the Office of Racial Equity, who does have some funds for translation services, and sort of try to compel them to contract with the Vermont Language Justice Project. You can see this on page 4088 of the calendar. And it also, the language is shall. The Department of Buildings and General Services shall assist the Vermont Language Justice Project as it navigates the process to become added to the state's list of approved contractors. And I didn't know this, but I just learned that the Department of Buildings and General Services, they are in charge of contracts. So that is why they are mentioned in this amendment. So as I said previously, the Senate Health and Welfare Committee does concur with this proposal of amendment, and we ask that the body concur. Thank you, Mr. President.
The question is, shall the Senate concur in the House proposal of amendment? Are you ready for the question? If so, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the Senate has concurred in the House proposal of amendment on S 243. We have on the calendar for action H 710, which passed the House.
Mr. President,
Senator from Chittenden.
we were hoping to pass over H710 and move to H915.
We will pass over H710. We have on the calendar for action H915, which was passed by the House on May 20th of 2026. It was referred to the Committee on Natural Resources and Energy, which reports it has considered the bill and recommends that the Senate propose to the House that the bill be amended as it appears starting on page 4094 of today's calendar, and it was such proposal of amendment the bill ought to pass. Affecting the revenues of the state, the bill was referred to the Committee on Finance, which recommends that the bill ought to pass in concurrence with proposal of amendment as recommended by the Committee on Natural Resources. Affecting the expenditures of the state, the bill was referred to the Committee on Appropriations, which recommends that the bill ought to pass in concurrence with the proposal of amendment as recommended by the Committee on Natural Resources. Listen to the second reading of the bill.
H915, an act relating to establishing an extended producer responsibility program for beverage containers.
We seem to have an issue, Senator from Chittenden, as I believe Senator from Addison, Senator Hardy, is the reporter of this bill. How did I miss that? Okay. Yep. Okay. I recognize the Senator from Caledonia, Senator Beck, for the report of the Committee on Natural Resources and Energy.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just before I get into the details, let me just kind of give a 30,000 foot of what's going on here. Vermont's had a deposit, a bottle bill since 1973. I think we're all pretty familiar with it at this point. This bill does not make any changes to the eligible beverages that are currently collected or deposits applied to in Vermont. And it makes no change to the deposit amount. It's still a nickel, 15 cents for liquor bottles. What it does do is it increases the handling fee from 3.5 cents to 4 cents for commingled bottles that are returned to redemption centers. And as probably most people know, that handling fee is how the redemption centers get paid for their work. And that 3.5 cent fee has not changed in 19 years, so this bill would raise it to 4.5 cents and make it so that those redemption centers can stay in business. And then the meat of this amendment is the creation of a producer responsibility organization, or what I'll refer to as the PRO. And the PRO, what its purpose is we're trying to do two things in the redemption system. One is to modernize it with some more automation, where automation makes sense, and to increase the number of redemption centers that we have in the state of Vermont. As many of you know, we have wide swaths of Vermont where there are no redemption centers. In fact, in the city that we are in right now, Montpelier, one of our larger cities, there is no redemption center. And there are huge areas of rural Vermont that don't even have them. And so this is an attempt to more redemption centers, more convenient for Vermonters, and that they can get through these centers more quickly, and to make the system more sustainable. And that's what we're trying to do here in this bill, just really big picture, okay? So let me get into the meat of the discussion here. Section 1 is really long, okay? It establishes a couple of definitions that are new. I think one is, the big one is in 1521, 5 out of 10 VSA chapter 53. It introduces something called the deposit initiator. And the deposit initiator is where that nickel is first collected, usually from a distributor, and the retailer pays the distributor for that nickel. Defines fair compensation in the context of the redemption center. The bill requires a PRO to develop a stewardship plan for redemption of beverage containers. And as part of that plan, the bill requires the PRO to provide points of redemption with fair compensation so that these redemption centers can get reimbursed for the cost of operating the center with a reasonable rate of return. Okay. In 1522, current law states that the deposit is not less than 5 cents. This language is clarified in here to say that the deposit, the return is 5 cents, so that a redemption center can't be returning for 6 cents or 7 cents, but it's 5 cents. Moving on to 1522 sub B, it increases the handling deposit, fee deposit. Initiators must pay retailers and redemption centers that redeem containers. The handling fee, again, for commingled beverage containers increases from 3.5 cents to 4.5 cents, and the handling fee for non-commingled containers increases from 4 to 5 cents. For those of you that aren't deep in the weeds on redemption centers, commingled means less sorts than non-commingled, or no, yeah. Commingled means fewer sorts than non-commingled. It doesn't make sense to me the way the language is. It's counterintuitive, at least in my mind. And I'm probably counterintuitive, so it's probably correct. In 1523, there's clarifying language on the acceptance of beverage containers. In 1524, a clarification of labeling. In 1527, the redemption of liquor bottles. And that clarification is that liquor containers are still 15 cents, and that the handling fee for liquor containers increases from 3.5 to 4.5 cents. It also repeals a requirement that a redemption center in 1529 that must participate in an approved commingling program if the redemption center redeems more than 250,000 containers a year. And then in 1531, we're getting into the meat of what this bill is really about, which is the creation of the PRO. In 1531A, provides a no deposit initiator. Again, that's the first person to collect the nickel. May sell or distribute a beverage container in the state without participating in an A&R approved producer responsibility organization, or PRO. That on or before January 1st of 2027, deposit initiator shall apply to the secretary to form a PRO, and that will fulfill the requirements of manufacturers under this chapter. In 1531 sub C, the secretary may approve for a period not longer than 10 years a PRO, provided that the PRO is a registered nonprofit corporation. It has the capacity to administer the requirements of a stewardship plan, and that there are no unreasonable barriers to deposit initiators joining the PRO, and it takes into consideration the needs of small manufacturers that do not generate a significant volume of containers. In 1531 sub D, after approval, a PRO shall maintain a website that identifies the name and principal business address of each manufacturer participating in the PRO and the name of each beverage and the container size covered by the stewardship plan. Moving on to 1532, these are the stewardship plan for the PRO, their minimum requirements. Stewardship plan shall at a minimum meet all of the following requirements. There should be convenience of collection, fair operation and compensation to redemption centers. Redemption amounts shall be paid. There will be collection location standards, including, I'll go into a little bit of detail on this because these are the redemption centers that we will all have in our communities, or we will have in our communities. But those collection standards, they should provide timely redemption services that limit the need for persons redeeming containers to wait for redemption services. They should be at sites that are secure, sufficiently lit, and managed to ensure the safety of persons redeeming containers at that location. And they should comply with all applicable laws related to the collection, transportation, and disposition of mandated recyclables. They should provide education to consumers, the PRO should, and they should also consult with stakeholders. The PRO is required to report no less than annually to A&R about what they are doing, including the name, address, and business hours of each participating redemption center, the amount in container and tons and material type of the beverage containers that are being redeemed, the location and amount of beverage container material that was recycled, and into what products the beverage container material was recycled, the carbon impacts associated with the stewardship plan, the costs associated with the stewardship plan, improvements that were made in that year to increase convenience of consumer redemption, any efforts to reduce environmental impacts and to increase reusability, PRO efforts to improve the environmental outcomes of the program, the educational materials and educational strategies that were used by the PRO, and any additional material required by the secretary. In 1532 sub D, the PRO shall implement an approved plan on March 1st of 2029. Okay? At that moment in time, the handling fee will still be in effect. And what they will do is they will use that year to move from a handling fee to a series of contracts and agreements with all of the redemption centers around the state of Vermont to ensure that these redemption centers, whether they're big or small or automated or less automated, that they will all receive enough compensation to operate that center and receive a reasonable amount of return. In 1532 sub E, A&R can require PRO to conduct additional education and outreach, provide additional redemption site or additional redemption opportunities if the PRO fails to meet the beverage container redemption rate for beverage containers. And we'll talk about those rates in just a little bit. In 1533, under program and fiscal audit, 1533 sub A requires an independent third-party program audit of a PRO stewardship plan every 5 years. The audit shall make recommendations to improve the operation of the collection program. In sub B, requires the PRO to conduct a fiscal audit annually to analyze the PRO, its expenditures, the number of beverage containers collected, and the amount of unclaimed deposits. The audit shall also provide the redemption rate of beverage containers redeemed in the state, and those results should be submitted to A&R. In 1534, this establishes the goals for the increased redemption rates that we would hope to see after the PRO has modernized the program and built out the redemption center network. And it is hoped that by July 1st of 2030, Vermont will have increased its redemption rate to 75%. And by July 1st of 2033, it would have increased to 80%. My recollection is from testimony is that currently Vermont's redemption rate, I believe, was 72%. And A&R shall recommend whether the beverage container deposit for a category of containers should increase. There is no automatic increase to the container deposit in this bill. A&R in 1535, A&R may adopt rules necessary for administration of the redemption system. There's also an antitrust language in here in 1536, which exempts the PRO and its participants from state antitrust laws so that they can work together to implement the PRO. This exemption does not apply to price fixing or restricting sales in any area of the state or in any product. Under Section 2, so we're finally out of Section 1. Section 2, 10 VSA 1523, the acceptance of beverage containers when PRO implements the plan. Beginning March 1st of 2029, when the PRO implements the stewardship plan, this section adds additional exemptions to the requirement that retailers or manufacturers redeem beverage containers. And that is if a retailer has less than 5,000 square feet and the PRO implements a plan, the retailer can refuse redemption. If the manufacturer has direct-to-consumer sales, they can refuse redemption if the sales location is less than 5,000 square feet as well. In sub C, a point of redemption or PRO can refuse to redeem containers that were known to have been purchased out of state, have already been redeemed, or are not registered with the PRO. So the example we discussed in committee is, what happens when the Keene, New Hampshire Little League fills a trailer with deposit bottles and drives across the river to Springfield or Brattleboro, and then that center knows that these bottles are coming from New Hampshire. If they know, and the language in there is, if it is known, they can refuse to accept those containers. In Section 3, standard notice and comment procedures. It amends 10 VSA 7714 to provide that A&R's approval of a PRO stewardship plan for beverage container redemption shall be subject to type 3 notice and comment. Section 4, the Clean Water Fund. The Clean Water Fund authorizes the transfer of unclaimed beverage container deposits. That money goes to the Clean Water Fund right now, and that will go to the Solid Waste Management Assistance Account for 4 fiscal years to allow grants for implementation of the PRO and its standard and its stewardship plan. So this is a lot of the money that will help with the automation of the system. In FY 30 and 31, $1 million will be transferred in each of those years. And in FY 2032 and 33, $750,000 will be transferred in each of those years. So for a total of $3.5 million over 4 years. Section 5 establishes the Waste Management Assistance Fund, amends the fund to recognize that the Solid Waste Management Assistance Account may include transfers from the Clean Water Fund. That's just simply so that the fund can actually transfer the money. And in sub B, sub 11, authorizes A&R to enter a grant with the PRO to reimburse the cost of equipment and improvements to infrastructure to implement the PRO stewardship plan. That's what allows for the transfer of money so some of these machines can be purchased to speed up some of the centers. In section 6 is the A&R status report on implementation of the stewardship plan, which says that on or before January 1st of 2030, A&R reports to the General Assembly the status of implementation of the stewardship plan, including how the convenience of collection and fair compensation requirements were implemented and how the system has been modernized. Section 7 is the repeal of the handling fee under the PRO stewardship plan, repeals the handling fee. In Section 7, that points of redemption received under the stewardship plan, fair compensation shall be provided by negotiation with points of redemption. So this is the section that allows us to transition from a handling fee to a fair compensation amount as the PRO takes over. Section 8 is the repeal of the Redemption Center certification and beverage registration. Section 8 repeals the requirement of 10 VSA 1529 that A&R certify redemption centers, because once the PRO is implementing a plan, the PRO will be responsible for approving redemption centers. Sections 9 through 12 are household hazardous product stewardship plans. They make technical changes to household hazardous products extended responsibility program to allow more than one PRO, but only for specific product sectors. Ooh, last page, getting there. Effective dates. This act takes effect on July 1st of 2026, except that the requiring of UPC labels and barcodes on all containers takes effect July 1, 2027. That's just to give the beverage industry some time to, gear up to making sure everything labeled correctly. We thought that July 1 of 2026 would probably be a little bit tight. The prohibiting sale of beverages without it being registered with the PRO, that would take effect on July 1st of 2027. Requirements for acceptance of beverage containers after plan implementation takes effect March 1st of 2029. That's when the PRO takes effect. Capital implemental grants take effect on July 1 of 2029. That's so those transfers in FY 30, 31, 32, and 33 can occur. And it repeals the handling fee under the PRO plan effective July 1 of 2030. That's 1 year after the PRO takes effect. That's that year where we're going to have to transition from a handling fee to the PRO compensation for the redemption centers. Your Senate Committee on Natural Resources and Energy took testimony from Ledge Council, Director of Waste Management Prevention, like probably a dozen times at least. Many of our redemption centers, the beverage industry, VPIRG, and other interested stakeholders. The vote in your committee was 5-0-0, and we would ask for the Senate's report. Thank you, Mr. President.
I recognize the senator from Addison, Senator Hardy, for the report of the Committee on Finance.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill came to Finance to assess the impact on the revenues of the state. The senator from Caledonia did such a great job with his report. I don't have very much to add, but I will say that we looked at, first of all, the transfers from the Clean Water Fund to the Solid Waste Management Assistance account of the Waste Management Assistance Fund. As the senator relayed, there would be transfers of $1 million in 2030 and 31 and $750,000 in 2032 and 33 respectively. So a total of $3.5 million transferred from Clean Water Fund to Solid Waste Management Fund. And as was noted, these revenues are from the escheats. Great word. The escheats, which are the bottles that are not returned and redeemed for their 5 cents. So that funding has, for the last, I think, 7 years, gone into the Clean Water Fund as an additional revenue source. That Clean Water Fund also has a clean water surcharge and the property transfer tax. Interest income from the fund, the escheats or unclaimed bottle deposits, and 6% of the meals and rooms tax. So it's about $31 million a year. The escheats portion of that is ranges from it's 3.5 million to a projection of 3.8 million in 2027. So moving $1 million or 750 is less than a third, almost a quarter of the funds from the escheats from the Clean Water Fund. And those are, as the senator from Caledonia mentioned, that revenue is to be used for infrastructure improvements to improve the redemption system in Vermont during the first few years of the producer responsibility organization. So that's one portion. We also, as noted, there's an increase of the handling fee, a temporary increase in the handling fee. That does impact the revenues of the state slightly because the Department of Liquor and Lottery does the returns for liquor bottles. You might notice on your liquor bottles, if you drink liquor, that they are a 15% return rate, 15 cents, a redemption rate. And they pay a handling fee to the redemption system. And this would increase it slightly temporarily, and the increase for DLL to cost to their budget would be about $35,000 per year. Again, it's not an ongoing increase in the handling fee. And then finally, the handling fee itself, as was noted in the committee report, this handling fee is not paid for by the state with the exception of the Department of Liquor and Lottery. It is paid for by the beverage beverage distributors, paid for to the redemption centers. It's a temporary increase from 3.5 cents to 4.5 cents per bottle or can, and it would end in 2030 after the first year. It's a sort of a bridge to getting to a new system. The last time that handling fee increased was in 2009. So it's been 17 years since that handling fee has increased, and our redemption centers in all parts of our state have seen an increase in labor costs, an increase in utility costs, rental costs, all the transportation costs, all the costs. So both the committees felt that it was a fair increase, and it is only temporary, so will not be permanently in the system. And again, it does not impact the revenues of the state except for that small $35,000 for the Department of Liquor and Lottery. The Senate Finance Committee heard from a number of witnesses similar to the Senate Natural Resources Committee. The vote in committee was 4-1, Mr. President, and we asked the Senate for support. Thank you.
Recognize the senator from Washington, Senator Watson, for the report of the Committee on Appropriations.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Appropriations did take a look at this, and everything I have to say has already been said twice already, actually, at this point. But just to reiterate, the increased handling fee will affect the costs to the Department of Liquor and Lottery. And so, because they will be paying that handling fee, and so that will be an increase of $35,000 a year. And then as was mentioned with the escheats and money coming from the escheats via the Clean Water Fund, to support grants for modernization of equipment. That starts in 2030, and the first 2 years there, it's $1 million, and then $750,000 for the next 2 years, for a total of $1.5 million over 4 years. And the vote out of appropriations was 4-1-2, and we asked for the Senate support. Thank you.
The question is, shall the Senate propose to the House to amend the bill as recommended by the Committee on Natural Resources and Energy? Are you ready for the question? If so, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you've proposed to the House to amend the bill as proposed by the Committee on Natural Resources. The question now is, shall the bill be read a third time? Are you ready for the question? Senator from Rutland.
Thank you, Mr. President. So the bottle bill is 53 years old, and it served its purpose quite well. But over the past half a century, the state has adopted a robust recycling systems. We now have two systems. We have the 20th century bottle redemption system, and we have the 21st century recycling systems. I believe our effort should be further to enhance the recycling system statewide. I support the elimination of the bottle bill program. This program has outlived its purpose. As a signal to this goal, I intend to vote no on H 915 and support sunsetting the bottle bill. Thank you, Mr. President.
Are you ready for the question? If so, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay.
Nay.
The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have ordered third reading of H 915. Okay. S 326 was passed by the House with proposal of amendment. The question is, shall the Senate concur in the House proposal of amendment? Senator from Lamoille.
The Transportation Committee went through the miscellaneous DMV bill, and we would recommend that we concur with further amendment, and the clerk should have the amendment.
The question is, shall the Senate concur in the House proposal of amendment with further amendment? Senator from Lamoille.
They're passing the amendment out. There are two instances of change from the DMV bill that went over. One, they worked on language from the House that dealt with texting and handheld mobile devices for commercial vehicles. The language that we got from the House simply called for a securely mounted device. And that language that is in our statute is language that has been there quite a long time. The concern for our committee was when we looked at what all the states around us are doing, they don't require a secure device. On the third page of the handout that you got, you will see from line 8 to line 17, where is what we're recommending it be changed to, which says that this does not apply to hands-free use. So if you're using your phone, it happens to be that it's in your jacket, but you're talking to it and you're not holding it in your hand, that's all right. That's what New York, that's what Massachusetts, that's what New Hampshire, that's what all the states around us do. They do require a fixed device if you're going to do something like Google Maps and you're looking. And this in line, in C, lines 11 through 13 in your handout would require the same thing. So if you're speaking to your phone you aren't holding it, under this would be clear and would be legal. And it would be very much the same as how you would deal with a pleasure car vehicle and what the rules are around that. That's the first change that we're recommending in Amendment that. The second change in your handout is on page 4, and what we're, basically this deals with mufflers on motorcycles. And what this requires is that they have a stamp. It assumes if they can't see a stamp that there is a stamp there. And the stamp is a federal requirement anyway, so this would mean that you can't get your vehicle or your motorcycle inspected without the stamp that's a federal requirement. So it coordinates our inspections with the federal rules. And those are the two changes within this amendment that we're suggesting, that we concur with the House with these two amendments.
The question is, shall the Senate concur in the House proposal of amendment with further proposal of amendment as offered by the senator from Lamoille? Are you ready for the question? If so, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the motion carries. That's okay. H660. The Committee of Conference has submitted the report and it is found in today's calendar. The question is, shall the Senate accept and adopt the report of the Committee on Conference on H660? Senator from Chittenden.
Thank you, Mr. President. Your Committee on Conference met and we resolved the very few differences that we had on H660. I'll go through those briefly and try to capture most or all of them. So on page 4139, the House accepted our proposal on having syringe services, and then later on you'll see the language that we had put in about the Department of Health having a program to have return of syringe services included as well. Also on that page, the Department of Health creation of the new opioid use disorder residential treatment beds. The House had proposed a $1.2 million lump sum. We had split it out to $600,000 and $600,000. We concur with the House on the 1.2, but we also think it's important to state that treatment is important. And so we ask that both the recovery residences and the medical treatment be included in that $1.2 million. We also, the House also agreed with the PREVENT program, the money that would allow for EMS folks to be educated and carry buprenorphine. We also, on page 4140, we concurred with the House in reducing the amount of money available for the Vermont Recovery Network. That was not in the House bill, but the $500,000, a reduction from the $800,000 that the Senate had proposed. We also, we as part of that, number 12 on page 4140, within the budget, there was some opioid overdose prevention funding for the Department of Aging and Independent Living for the Higher Ability Employment Program. We have moved that out of the budget and into the bill to keep all of the opioid funds in one place. And so that $875,000 will be taken out of the budget, so there won't be a duplication. Then there is language on page 4140 relating to the Overdose Prevention Center in Burlington. The money, $1.1 million, is not directly appropriated this year, but intent language is added so that as that prevention center is purchased and fit up, the money will be made available, and we'll have time during the BAA process to consider that. Then the language on page 4141 related to the hireability. Now, hireability has been a highly effective program funded through the opioid abatement funding process, and it's the intent of the General Assembly to move that into a more permanent base funding. So that is the intent language on that page. There is also language that was concurred to by the House on adding consultation with the Attorney General when the opioid advisory committee makes its decisions. There's also language on page 4143 that we both agree with, or both the House and the Senate agree with, on suspending activity for decision-making and expenditures from the fund in 2028. The House concurred with the Senate on expenditures on page 4143 with some language that we had also included relative to that. Then on page 4144 is the language related to the syringe recovery that we added in this, in the Senate chamber. And the House concurred with that. Then also the language then beginning on page 4144 for the Substance Misuse Prevention Special Fund. The House agreed with the Senate to ensure that those programs that are listed there are funded through the Substance Misuse Prevention Fund rather than the opioid fund. And then language that the Senate proposed on page 4145 for reporting about how the Substance Misuse Fund is utilized and how much of the fund remains after expenditures. The House concurred with the Senate on that as well. That is the report. Your Committee of Conference asks that you support our report. Thank you, Mr. President.
Question is, shall the Senate accept and adopt the report of the Committee of Conference on H660? Are you ready for the question? If so, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay.
Nay.
Nay. Ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. The Senate has accepted and adopted the report of the Committee of Conference on H660. We have a report of the Committee of Conference on H16. Found in your calendar. And the question is, shall the Senate accept and adopt the report of the Committee of Conference on H816? Senator from Chittenden Central.
Thank you, Mr. President. You may recall that H816 is an act relating to regulating the use of artificial intelligence in the provision of mental health services. This is a bill that was designed to protect vulnerable folks who seek mental health counseling from being counseled by an AI chatbot or other AI technologies. As we have seen, there have been some very tragic results of those interactions. When the bill came to the Senate Health and Welfare Committee from the House, it was a little bit complicated and difficult to follow. So we simplified it and sent it back over to the House. And in the interim, we heard from a lot of mental health practitioners who had some concerns. So the House, instead of sending it back to us because it was very late in the game, decided to go to a conference committee with some very logical amendments. One being that they altered the definition of mental health services to be in line with that of the state of Maine. Again, wanting to protect folks, but not wanting to stymie innovation and not wanting to make certain administrative processes illegal because those are very helpful to mental health practitioners and other health practitioners as well. The House also added the word clinical throughout the bill. And by the way, I am on page 41, 46 of the calendar. They also wanted to make sure that things like meditation apps and sleep apps were not going to get included in this prohibition. So they made sure that the language did not put a prohibition on those kinds of apps. They took out a $10,000 fine per violation because they decided, and we concurred, that the Consumer Protection Act already covers folks who might have issues with this particular technology. Also, one piece that we did not acquiesce to, I guess you would say, is that we had added a member of the Board of Medical Practice to the AI Advisory Board. They wanted to take that member off and add the Director of Professional Regulation or designee. We agreed with their choice of OPR being on that advisory council, but we also wanted the Board of Medical Practice. So in the end, we decided on both of those. That makes the AI Advisory Council a group of 12 people, which we think is okay. And yeah, that's basically where we landed, and we did vote 5-0-0 to accept the House proposal of amendment. And we would ask that the Senate concur. Thank you, Mr. President.
The question is, shall the Senate accept and adopt the report of the Committee of Conference on H 816? Are you ready for the question? If so, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and we have accepted and adopted the report of the Committee of Conference on H 816. Senator from Chittenden Central.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, I would ask that we suspend our rules in order to bring H 642, an act relating to youthful offender proceedings, that Committee of Conference report, up for immediate action from the notice count.
Senator from Chittenden Central has moved that the Senate suspend its rules in order to take off the notice calendar for immediate action, H 642. Are you ready for the question? If so, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, and the motion carries. We have the report of the Committee of Conference on H 642. The question is, shall the Senate accept and adopt the report of the Committee of Conference? Senator from Windham.
Thank you, Mr. President. This will be a pretty short report. So H 642, folks may remember, that was a bill related to youthful offender. It was meant to close a loophole for defendants who were aging out of the status. And the loophole remains closed as a result of the bill. However, we did make a separate technical change, and the Senate proposal apparently led to some significant confusion. And so this bill, the conference report is located on page 4198. Section 2 is located on page 4200, and that's where we made some additional changes. The misunderstanding allowed us to create some further clarity. We agreed to remove language regarding a victim testifying as to the appropriateness of youthful offender status for a defendant. And again, this was meant to be technical because ultimately it is the judge who makes a determination as to the appropriateness after hearing from a variety of witnesses, including the victim. The conference committee made some further clarifications that a victim can testify at both the consideration hearing and the disposition hearing. We also agreed on some other minor changes, such as replacing the phrase youthful offender treatment with youthful offender status. And that is the report, and I ask for the Senate support.
The question is, shall the Senate accept and adopt the report of the Committee Conference on H 642? Are you ready for the question? If so, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and we have accepted and adopted the report of the Committee of Conference on H 642. We have appointments reported out of committee to take up for confirmation. This is the appointment for John Murad as the Commissioner of the Department of Corrections for a term including March 8th, 2026, and to and including February 28th, 2027, and until a successor is appointed and has qualified. Senator from Bennington.
And thank you, Mr. President. Your Senate Institutions Committee is recommending confirmation of the appointment of John Murad as Commissioner of the Department of Corrections. So I was driving up from Bennington today and thinking about this rather dry report. And I believe I lost about 7 minutes of time. During that time, I can't tell you exactly what happened, but I think I found a way to make it slightly more interesting, at least to me. So although this is a very serious appointment, I want to believe that I'll have the indulgence to put some frivolity into this report. So John Murad was born and raised in Vermont. He graduated from Mount Mansfield and earned a Bachelor of Arts degree in English and American Literature from Harvard University in 1995. Commissioner Murad has dedicated more than 20 years to public safety, serving communities in New York City and Vermont. And he joined the New York City Police Department in 2005. Now, this is the point where you might be thinking he graduated from college in 1995 and then started working at NYPD in 2005. So what happened during those lost years? So I learned that he was in Hollywood, and he had a couple of roles in a couple of television shows that I think should remain unmentioned. But his last role was on The X-Files. I want to believe that that inspired him to go into a career of extraterrestrial investigation. And that's what brought him to the NYPD. Cannot confirm that in any way, shape, or form, but like any good conspiracy theorist, I did not go back to the internet, the BBSs, or Usenet. But he joined the NYPD in 2005. He rising through the ranks from police officer to detective sergeant, ultimately to assistant commissioner. And that's a 6-rank promotion that at least was described as unprecedented in NYPD history. And in that final role, he served as a senior policy advisor and commanded the Office of Strategic Communications, overseeing a 49-person unit. Now, that Office of Strategic Communications, again, I want to believe that that was NYPD's X-Files unit. And again, I cannot confirm that in any way, shape, or form, but I think that was his goal, to get into and command the X-Files unit in the NYPD. Subsequent to that, he served as chief of staff at a private risk consultancy group before returning to public service in Vermont. And again, that private risk consultancy group, I want to believe it was not called the Millennium Group. But after that, much like Agent Jack Black, he returned home to live a quiet life and became the commissioner, or became the deputy chief of operations at the Burlington Police Department in 2018. He became acting chief in 2020 before becoming officially appointed and confirmed as chief in June of 2023. So during that time, he administered the $17.2 million budget, commanded 145 full-time employees, leading the department through the COVID-19 pandemic, and also a significant spike in gun violence. During that time, he created the crisis advocacy intervention programs to provide person-centered, trauma-informed care for individuals experiencing substance use disorder, homelessness, and mental health crises. And I want to believe that that program also was the Burlington Police Department's X-Files unit. Again, I can't confirm this in any way, shape, or form. So he stepped down from that in April of 2025. And just a few months later, Governor Scott appointed Commissioner Murad as interim commissioner of the Vermont Department of Corrections on August 15th of 2025. He was formally appointed not too long ago. And he did appear before our committee, and he recognized the department's challenges, and I think we're now calling them also challenges and opportunities in the same way. This includes staffing shortfalls, facility deficiencies, the need to expand programming and reentry supports. And he spoke to, and I think he spoke to a genuine commitment to the men and women who carry out that work at DOC every day. He also echoed the urgency that's definitely spoken in our committee, and I believe of many, many others. Essentially that there's the need for a new women's facility, not today, but yesterday. For Commissioner Murad, though, for me, I had some understanding of him beforehand. He'd come to our committee. I had heard about him from before, but there were some things that really stuck out to me with Commissioner Murad, is that he really acknowledges what he does not know, and then he has a lot to learn and is able to delegate to those that have been serving the Department of Corrections for much, much longer. And he displayed to me, at least, a willingness to accept criticism directly. And quite frankly, I set him up for it, and I think he responded fairly well during the committee hearing. One thing that what really struck me as well, though, is he talked about 20 years of being on one side of the 911 calls, of responding to them, and now he's over on the other side of what happens after the 911 calls. And he described it not in a way of having a response to the 911 calls, but of thinking about it in terms of being in a position where now he might be able to, if it's done correctly, to prevent the next 911 call. And having been myself in the middle of those two, I appreciated that viewpoint of that position. So the vote in committee to approve the appointment was 5-0-0, and we asked for the Senate support.
The question is, shall the appointment of John Murad as Commissioner, Department of Corrections be confirmed by the Senate? Are you ready for the question?
Roll call.
Roll call has been requested, and when the vote is taken, it shall be by roll. Are you ready for the question? If so, the secretary shall call the roll.
Senator Baru.
Yes.
Senator Beck.
Yes.
Senator Benson.
Yes.
Senator Bongard.
Yes.
Senator Brennan.
Yes.
Senator Brock.
Yes.
Senator Chittenden.
Yes.
Senator Clarkson.
Yes.
Senator Collmore.
Yes.
Senator Cummings.
Yes.
Senator Gulick.
Yes.
Senator Harden. Senator Harrison.
Yes.
Senator Hashim.
Yes.
Senator Heffernan.
Yay.
Senator Engel.
Yes.
Senator Lyons.
Yes.
Senator Major.
Yes.
Senator Matos.
Yes.
Senator Morley.
Yes.
Senator Norris.
Yes.
Senator Perschley.
Yes.
Senator Plunkett.
Yes.
Senator Ron Hinsdale.
No.
Senator Bohowski.
No.
Senator Watson.
Yes.
Senator Weeks.
Yes.
Senator Westman.
Yes.
Senator White. Senator Williams.
Yay.
Senator Hardy. Senator White.
Those voting yes, 26. Those voting no, 22. The ayes, sorry, too many to twos. Those voting yes, 26. Those voting no, 2. The ayes have it, and you have confirmed the appointment of John Murad as the Commissioner of the Department of Corrections. We now have the appointment of Rick Hildebrandt for the position of Commissioner of Department of Health for a term from and including October 13th of 2025 to and including February 28th of 2027 and until a successor is appointed and has qualified. Senator from Orange.
Thank you, Mr. President. As far as I know, Dr. Hildebrandt has no connection to Hollywood. The Vermont Commissioner of Health is the chief health officer for the state. He oversees the Vermont Department of Health and has a number of responsibilities and oversight, including public health, hazard mitigation, appointment of local health officials, healthcare quality and reporting, and health disease prevention, licensing and enforcement of public health statutes, and emergency preparedness and response. And I think we all saw the value of Dr. Levine over the COVID period. And so Dr. Hildebrand has some pretty big shoes to fill there. Dr. Hildebrand earned his doctorate of medicine from Drexel University College of Medicine and a master's of business administration from the University of Massachusetts. He completed his residency and intern medicine at Dartmouth Medical Center and is the clinical assistant professor at the University of Vermont's College of Medicine. He is committed to advancing Vermont's public health priorities through data-driven decision-making, cross-sector collaboration, and evidence-based policy. He is honored to lead the talented team at the Department of Health to ensure Vermont remains one of the healthiest states in the nation. Dr. Hildebrand has testified in front of the Health and Welfare Committee on numerous occasions, always in a very professional manner and always concerned about the health and welfare of the people of the state of Vermont. The Health and Welfare Committee unanimously supports Dr. Hildebrand's appointment to Commissioner of Health, and we would look to the Senate's concurrence. Thank you.
The question is, shall the appointment of Rick Hildebrand as Commissioner of Department of Health be confirmed by the Senate? Are you ready for the question?
Roll call.
Roll call has been requested, and when the vote is taken, it shall be by roll. Are you ready for the question? If so, the secretary shall call the roll.
Senator Baru.
Yes.
Senator Beck.
Yes.
Senator Benson.
Yes.
Senator Bonga.
Yes.
Senator Brennan.
Yes.
Senator Brock.
Yes.
Senator Chitton.
Yes.
Senator Clarkson.
Yes.
Senator Collmore.
Yes.
Senator Cummings.
Yes.
Senator Bueller.
Yes.
Senator Hardy. Senator Harrison.
Yes.
Senator Hashim.
Yes.
Senator Heffernan.
Yay.
Senator Ingalls.
Yes.
Senator Lyons.
Yes.
Senator Major.
Yes.
Senator Matos.
Yes.
Senator Morley.
Yes.
Senator Norris.
Yes.
Senator Gershman.
Yes.
Senator Plunkett.
Yes.
Senator Ron Hinsdale. Senator Pivoski. Senator Watson.
Yes.
Senator Weeks.
Yes.
Senator Westman.
Yes.
Senator White. Senator Williams.
Yes.
Senator Hardy. Senator Ron Hinsdale. Senator Pivoski. Senator White.
Those voting yes, 26. Those voting no, 0. The ayes have it, and you've confirmed the appointment of Rick Hildebrand as the Commissioner of the Department of Health. We now have the appointment of Sandy Hoffman to take up at this time as the Commissioner of Department of Children and Families for a term from and including March 22nd, 2026 to and including February 28th of 2027, and until a successor is appointed and has qualified. Senator from Chittenden Central.
Your Health and Welfare Committee unanimously supported the confirmation of the Commissioner of Department of Children and Families, Sandra Raymond Hoffman, Sandy Hoffman, as we refer to her. She's been the interim commissioner. And I personally, in her testimony in our committee, have found her openness and candor and honesty to be very refreshing, not to mention her deep knowledge of this area. Sandy graduated from Woodbury College in 1991, went on to get a bachelor's degree in sociology and criminal justice in 1999 at Trinity College. Some of us remember that lovely college in Burlington, as well as a master's of social work in 2002 at the University of Vermont. She worked for the Battered Women's Services in Montpelier, and from 92 to 94, she was their vice president of the board of directors, and then she was a victims advocate from 1991 to 1994. She was responsible for providing crisis support to individuals and families involved in domestic violence situations. From 1993 to 1997, she was a correctional officer at the South Burlington facility, Chittenden Regional Correctional Facility. There, she provided evaluations to employees, conducted investigations, reviewed grievances, and delivered crisis intervention services. From 1997 to 2015, she worked for DCF at the Woodside Juvenile Rehabilitation Center in Colchester. From 97 to 2011, she was a youth counselor and an acting team supervisor. Her supervisory responsibilities included support and monitoring of the work of counselors, interns, volunteers, and residents. And then from 2011 to 2015, she was the program evaluation and quality assurance specialist. She was responsible for development and maintenance of systemic evaluation processes to monitor programming, measure outcomes, and ensure adherence to laws, accrediting organization standards, regulating authorities, and the Agency of Human Services and Family Services Division policies. And she was at DEVA for a very long time, the Department of Vermont Health Access. From 2015 to 2019, she was the manager and director of the Quality Improvement and Clinical Integrity Group. From 2019 to 2020, she was a clinical chief, and from 2020 to 2025, she was the deputy commissioner. So a vast array of knowledge in her portfolio. She's a dynamic leader, and we do hope that the Senate will concur with our decision to support the confirmation of Sandy Hoffman. Thank you, Mr. President.
The question is, shall the appointment of Sandy Hoffman as the Commissioner of the Department of Children and Families be confirmed by the Senate? Are you ready for the question?
Roll call.
Roll call has been requested, and when the vote is taken, it shall be by roll. Are you ready for the question? If so, the secretary shall call the roll.
Senator Baru.
Yes.
Senator Beck.
Yes.
Senator Benson. Yes. Senator Bonner.
Yes.
Senator Brennan.
Yes.
Senator Brock.
Yes.
Senator Chitwood.
Yes.
Senator Clarkson.
Yes.
Senator Caldwell.
Yes.
Senator Cummings.
Yes.
Senator Hewlett.
Yes.
Senator Hardy. Senator Harrison.
Yes.
Senator Hashid.
Yes.
Senator Heffernan.
Yay.
Senator Ingalls.
Yes.
Senator Lyons.
Yes.
Senator Major.
Yes.
Senator Matos.
Yes.
Senator Morley.
Yes.
Senator Norris.
Yes.
Senator Kirschman. Yes. Senator Plunkett.
Yes.
Senator Ron Hinsdale.
Yes.
Senator Bohofsky.
Yes.
Senator Watson.
Yes.
Senator Weeks.
Yes.
Senator Westman.
Yes.
Senator White. Senator Williams.
Yes.
Senator Hardy. Senator White.
Those voting yes, 28. Those voting no, 0. And the ayes have it, and you have confirmed the appointment of Sandy Hoffman as the Commissioner of the Department for Children and Families. This is the appointment of Sarah Teachout as a member of the Green Mountain Care Board for a term and including July 28th of 2025 to and including September 30, 2029, and until a successor is appointed and has qualified. Senator from Washington.
Thank you, Mr. President. Unlike most of the appointees that we deal with, Sarah Teachout is a familiar face to many of us. She has spent many years in this building. Sarah Teachout of Stowe received a bachelor's degree from UVM and a master's in public administration from the Robert F. Wagner School of Public Service at NYU. She began her career with 16 years serving in this building as part of our joint fiscal office, where she specialized in fiscal analysis. I'm not sure how I would have survived my first few years in finance and chairing finance without Sarah there. She was always accurate. She knew the subject. She helped us as we worked our way through the proposals for single payer healthcare and setting up the Catamount system and various tax schemes. She was always right on, very accurate. She unfortunately left us for a while and went and spent 9 years at Blue Cross Blue Shield as their public and media specialist. So she was back in this building again, and she's been very helpful to the Health and Welfare Committee as we've worked our way through cost containment. Her analysis of the drivers in healthcare costs. She was the one that brought it to our attention that some of our hospitals were doing hundreds up to 1,000% markup in infusion drugs. We curtailed that a year ago, and it resulted in several, I think like a 5% decrease in the cost of health insurance policies. So she's been right there analyzing the system. The vote in committee was 5-0-0, and we asked this body to concur.
The question is, shall the appointment of Sarah Teachout as a member of the Green Mountain Care Board be confirmed by the Senate? Are you ready for the question?
Roll call.
Roll call has been requested, and when the vote is taken, it shall be by roll. Are you ready for the question? The Secretary shall call the roll.
Senator Baruch.
Yes.
Senator Beck.
Yes.
Senator Spencer.
Yes.
Senator Bonner.
Yes.
Senator Brennan.
Yes.
Senator Brock.
Yes.
Senator Chitton.
Yes.
Senator Clarkson.
Yes.
Senator Collmore.
Yes.
Senator Cummings.
Yes.
Senator Dooley.
Yes.
Senator Hardy. Senator Harrison.
Yes.
Senator Hashim.
Yes.
Senator Heffernan.
Yay.
Senator Engel.
Yes.
Senator Lyon.
Yes.
Senator Major.
Yes.
Senator Masso.
Yes.
Senator Morley.
Yes.
Senator North.
Yes.
Senator Pershing.
Yes.
Senator Plunkett.
Yes.
Senator Ron Hinsdale.
Yes.
Senator Mahovsky.
Yes.
Senator Watson.
Yes.
Senator Weeks.
Yes.
Senator Westman.
Yes.
Senator White. Senator Williams.
Yes.
Senator Hardy. Senator White.
The yeses 28, the noes 0. The ayes have it, and you have confirmed Sarah Teachout as a member of the Green Mountain Care Board. This is the appointment of Owen Foster as the chair of the Green Mountain Care Board for a term from and including October 1st of 2024 to and including September 30th of 2030, and until a successor is appointed and has qualified. Senator from Chittenden.
Thank you, Mr. President. I feel like this is a reaffirmation as much as a confirmation. And I can't compete with the junior senator from Bennington, but will just share that Chair Foster is the nephew of the person in Addison County who developed the first methane digester in the state. So, and now has Voodoo compost. But Owen Foster is well known to us in Senate Health and Welfare, as he is to, I think, everyone in the chamber, and his outspoken attention to improving the system of care in the state of Vermont, ensuring financial sustainability of our hospitals, and also working very carefully to ensure that we move forward with savings for Vermonters for their health care costs. He was first appointed to the board in October 22. He has a broad range of experiences as an attorney. He served as the district U.S. attorneys in the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Vermont. He led civil and criminal cases, one of which we may be interested in. That was the Purdue Pharma case of 2020, where Purdue was convicted on 3 felonies and agreed to pay over $8 billion in penalties. That's the largest pharmaceutical case in the country's history. He was a prosecutor in that case. Also worked on other similar big pharma and other Department of Justice medical record settlements, ensuring that medical records were held discreet and not shared. So a lot of his experiences actually have been in the area of cybersecurity and data protection, AI, which is right now very, very pertinent to the work that we do, as well as in the area of IT and development of health information technology. He was a director for he did some securities litigation and data privacy work when he was at another law firm in Boston, Massachusetts, the Deckard firm. He has many awards and honors for the work that he has done. He graduated from the Columbia School of Law and as well as the University of Vermont prior to that time. Mr. President, he has been a good partner in the work that we have done in our Health and Welfare Committee, and I would ask that we all vote to confirm Owen Foster as chair of the Green Mountain Care Board.
The question is, shall the appointment of Owen Foster as the chair of the Green Mountain Care Board be confirmed by the Senate? Are you ready for the question?
Roll call.
Roll call has been requested, and when the vote is taken, it shall be by roll. Are you ready for the question? The secretary shall call the roll.
Senator Baruch.
Yes.
Senator Beck.
Yes.
Senator Benson.
Yes.
Senator Bungard.
Yes.
Senator Brennan.
Yes.
Senator Brock.
Yes.
Senator Chitton.
Yes.
Senator Clarkson.
Yes.
Senator Caldwell.
Yes.
Senator Cummings.
Yes.
Senator Bewley.
Yes.
Senator Hardy. Senator Harrison.
Yes.
Senator Hashim.
Yes.
Senator Heffernan.
Yay.
Senator Ingalls. Senator Ingalls.
Yes.
Senator Lyons.
Yes.
Senator Major.
Yes.
Senator Matos.
Yes.
Senator Morley.
Yes.
Senator Norris.
Yep.
Senator Pershling.
Yes.
Senator Plunkett.
Yes.
Senator Ron Hinsdale.
Yes.
Senator Bohowski.
Yes.
Senator Watson.
Yes.
Senator Weeks.
Yes.
Senator Westland.
Yes.
Senator White. Senator Williams.
Yes.
Senator Hardy. Senator White.
Those voting yes, 28. Those voting no, 0. The ayes have it, and you've confirmed Owen Foster as the chair of the Green Mountain Care Board. That's all we got, right? I have one conference committee announcement, H740, Senator Watson, Senator Bongartz, Senator Williams. That completes the orders of the day.
Mr. President, I'm wondering about Jenny Samuelson.
We understand that we were not ready for Senator, that would require a rule suspension.
I think as long as we're about it, we might as well finish it. So I would suggest that we suspend our rules in order to take up the confirmation for Jenny Samuelson of Shelburne, Vermont, for immediate action.
The senator from Chittenden Central has moved that the Senate suspend its rules in order to take up Jenny Samuelson for confirmation. Are you ready for the question? If so, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and we will take up the confirmation. This appointment is for Jenny Samuelson as Secretary of the Agency of Human Services for a term from and including March 1st of 2025 to and including February 28th of 2027, and until a successor is appointed and has qualified. Senator from Chittenden.
Thank you, Mr. President. Jenny Samuelson, again, this is a reaffirmation of the work that she has been doing in the Agency of Human Services. Her experience over time really lends itself well to the work of the agency. She began early experience in health education and community health workforce development. She worked within the lead poisoning prevention as prevention program coordinator, managing CDC grant funding. She had leadership roles and between 2008 and 2018 in further developing the Blueprint Program of Health, a very important program that we have in primary care for quality improvement, care management, statewide implementation initiatives, managing the budgets and the grants and contracts for that program, which can be quite complicated. She became Deputy Commissioner and Principal Assistant for the Department of Vermont Health Access in 2018, and as you can imagine, between 2018 and 2020, when she held that role, the difficulty through some of the pandemic. She has also then moved in to become Deputy Secretary of the Agency of Human Services, leading strategic development for vaccine distribution, testing operations, housing, vulnerable population response, and help stabilize healthcare and human services systems through the continuing her work through the pandemic. She has received a bachelor's degree in nutritional science from the University of Vermont and a master's degree from the Southern Illinois University on health education. She continues to lead the Agency of Human Services as secretary since 2022, and her work has been extremely important to the transformation process that we're going on now, the development of the strategic plan and integrated work with the Green Mountain Care Board as well as the legislature. Most recently, providing leadership on the Rural Health Transformation Grant that is critically important to our more rural parts of the state and the development of healthcare transportation, medical care, and human services supports as a result of that grant. Mr. President, your Senate Health and Welfare asked that you confirm Jenny Samuelson with your vote. Thank you.
The question is, shall the appointment of Jenny Samuelson as the Secretary of the Agency of Human Services be confirmed by the Senate? Are you ready for the question?
Roll call.
Roll call has been requested, and when the vote is taken, it shall be by roll. Are you ready for the question? The Secretary shall call the roll.
Senator Baru?
Yes.
Senator Beck?
Yes.
Senator Benson?
Yes.
Senator Baumgart?
Yes.
Senator Brennan?
Yes.
Senator Brock?
Yes.
Senator Chittenden?
Yes.
Senator Clarkson?
Yes.
Senator Collmore?
Yes.
Senator Cummings?
Yes.
Senator Bueller?
Yes.
Senator Hardy? Senator Harrison.
Yes.
Senator Rashid.
Yes.
Senator Heffernan.
Yay.
Senator Engel. Yes. Senator Lyon.
Yes.
Senator Major.
Yes.
Senator Nato.
Yes.
Senator Morley.
Yes.
Senator Norris.
Yep.
Senator Berschlich.
Yes.
Senator Plunkett.
Yes.
Senator Ron Hinsdale.
Yes.
Senator Bohowski.
Yes.
Senator Watson.
Yes.
Senator Weeks.
Yes.
Senator Westman.
Yes.
Senator White. Senator Williams.
Yes.
Senator Hardy. Senator White.
Those voting yes, 28. Those voting no, 0. The ayes have it. You've confirmed Jenny Samuelson as the Secretary of the Agency of Human Services. Senator from Chittenden.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, I would move that our rules be suspended in order to message our actions on the following bills to the House forthwith. S. 326, an act relating to miscellaneous amendments to laws relating to motor vehicles. H. 527, an act relating to extending the sunset of 30 VSA 248A. H. 642, an act relating to youthful offender proceedings. H. 686, an act relating to expanding identification of certain lobbying advertisements. H. 757, an act relating to manufactured homes and limited equity cooperatives. H. 817, an act relating to mental health literacy and peer-to-peer supports in schools. H. 902, an act relating to approval of amendments to the charter of the city of Barry. H. 953, an act relating to approval of an amendment to the charter of the town of Panton. H. 660, an act relating to fiscal year 2027 opioid abatement special fund appropriations. And H. 816, an act relating to regulating the use of artificial intelligence in the provision of mental health services.
Senator from Chittenden Central has moved that the Senate suspend its rules in order to message our actions on S. 326, H. 527, H. 642, H. 686, H. 757, H. 817, H. 902, H. 953, H. 660, and H. 816 to the House forthwith. Are you ready for the question? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, and the motion carries. Senator from Chittenden.
Thank you, Mr. President. Before I offer an adjournment motion, I just want to give a heads up to senators about next week. When we begin to message all of our bills, we are accelerating on purpose, and next week we will accelerate even further. So we will need to have 2 sessions per day, or at least the possibility of 2 sessions per day. So by the end of day today, we will confer with Money Committee chairs and others and send out notice to everybody about when that afternoon session will be scheduled each day of next week. But prepare for that. So if you've gotten used to leaving the State House early, next week will be a different story. With that said, Mr. President, I would move that pending announcements, the Senate stand in adjournment until 10 a.m. Tuesday, May 26, 2026.
Are there any announcements? Senator from Washington.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Finance will meet at 1 o'clock for what I hope will be a very short meeting.
Senator from Washington.
Senate Appropriations will meet after the Conference Committee on the Budget, which I think could be 2, but it could be sooner if you want to try to get, we have 3 bills to get out to clear our schedule for next week's, hopefully, adjournment week.
Senator from Rutland.
That one. Great. Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Government Operations will meet at 2 o'clock.
Senator from Windham.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate institutions will meet at 12:15.
Senator from Windsor.
Thank you. The conference committee, the conference committee on H 639 will meet at 12:30 in Senate Economic Development, Housing and General Affairs Room. Thank you.
Are there any further announcements? Senator from Chittenden.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to give a heads up to the Committee on Senate Health and Welfare that we will be meeting at some point next week to look at bills that are coming back to us from the House. So just keep your eyes open for email. Thank you.
Are there any further announcements? Senator from Windsor.
Thank you. Just to remind, the Senate Economic Development, Housing and General Affairs will be meeting at 9 o'clock on Tuesday. We were hoping to vote out S328, which we will be doing Tuesday morning, close, and we have a number of other bills coming to us from the House. Thank you.
Are there any further announcements? Senator from Chittenden.
I just think it's important for us to recognize that this is Memorial Day weekend and that we all remember to commemorate those who gave the final measure of devotion. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator from Washington.
Thank you, Mr. President. Anticipating that Senate Natural Resources and Energy will need to meet Tuesday morning at about 9:30. Thank you.
Are there any further announcements? Senator from Rutland.
Thank you, Mr. President. Point of personal privilege, if I may.
You may.
So as we approach Memorial Day, I rise briefly for a point of personal privilege to ask that in the midst of our work in this chamber, we take a moment to reflect. Every day we stand here in our people's house to debate, to disagree, to advocate, and to exercise the rights secured to us under our Constitution. We do so freely, not by accident, and not without cost. Memorial Day is not simply the beginning of summer, not merely a day off from work. It is a solemn reminder of the great Americans who gave their lives so that the Republic might endure. For 250 years, our constitutional republic has withstood hardship, division, war, and uncertainty. It has endured because generations of brave men and women answered the call of duty and made the ultimate sacrifice so that liberty might live on. Many of us have not borne that sacrifice ourselves, yet every one of us benefits from it. The freedoms we often speak of in this chamber, the freedom in worship, to speak, to disagree, to assemble and to govern ourselves, our liberties protected through the service and the sacrifice of others, and so many of us believe granted by our Creator. So as we continue our work on behalf of Vermonters, let us pause and remember those who gave all. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator from Chittenden.
Mr. President, I would move that those very eloquent remarks be journalized in the Senate.
Senator from Chittenden.
With that said, Mr. President, I will withdraw my motion to adjourn.
The senator from Chittenden Southeast has moved that the senator from Rutland's remarks be journalized. Are you ready for the question? If so, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it and the motion carries. Senator from Chittenden Central.
Pending any further announcements, I would move that we stand in adjournment until 10 a.m. Tuesday, May 26, 2026.
And I would just like to briefly say on this Memorial Day weekend, let us not forget the many veterans who have taken their own lives and the far too many that we still lose every single day. And let's keep all them in our hearts and minds as well. The senator from Chittenden Central has moved that the Senate stand in adjournment until 10 a.m. Tuesday, May 26th of 2026. Are you ready for the question? If so, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and we'll stand in adjournment until 10 a.m. Tuesday, May 26th of 2026.